Hello, and yeah, this is Moonrider. You probably haven't heard about it before, but it's a cool game.
I mean, if they haven't kept up with the ESA because we've been here before.
Yeah,
And we're back again because the game is so good.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm Kirthar, and with me on comms I have...
H1, hello. You might have seen me earlier this morning with Soul of the Samurai with a relay with Voitas.
Yep, and you may have seen me before, like earlier today, with Cuphead.
So actually, both of us have had a run earlier today, didn't we? Just keep bringing us back.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we'll just jump into it. So time starts after you press start in the equip menu right here. So yeah, let's count down.
All right, good.
3, 2, 1, go.
So this Virtual Guardian Moonrider, this game released, I want to say in January of 2023, so 1.5 years ago. At this point, it's like a retro-styled game that harkens back to the old Sega Genesis at times. Games like Shinobi and stuff like that should probably get you a good inclination of what it is. The interesting part here is Kirthar didn't have control of the character until he started breaking down those barriers. It was like a little cutscene that cues in on the different moves that the Moonrider can do here. Most importantly is this running slash that Kirthar just did there, because it deals a bunch of damage and it also puts you in a forward motion, saving a little bit of time. Also doing this slash on these little hand runnings at the start gives you a little speed boost while you're gliding over them. Other than that, a little bit of movement here. You have your usual jump, wall jump, and we're already at the first mini-boss, or rather the boss of the first half of the first stage will be this barrier here. Now what will happen, there will be a laser coming up from the top, and Kirthar wants to hit it with his Moon Spear, which is a special attack a couple of times. Because the way this works is either the laser will automatically shoot after a short while to hit wherever you were standing at the point, so you want to try and jump to get those automatic hits against the barrier, but it also will shoot automatically at the barrier if you deal a certain amount of damage to it. And you want to kind of stack these two to break down the barrier as fast as it can. Then we did go for some couple cycles with these moving platforms here to go upwards pretty easily. And then we're just making our way through the stage here. All these platforms are on a global cycle, so if you can go through at the same pace, you will always have them at the same points. Now here we grab up our first upgrade chip, which will be the MP region chip. In the upper left corner, you can see these two bars, the yellow one, which is obviously our health bar, and then the blue one, which is our mana bar that we use to use our sub-weapons like the Moon Spear. The MP region chip makes it so that every 5 seconds or so we regenerate 1 MP point, which basically means that we can use the Moon Spear a little bit more often. Here we're going for a couple damage boosts to skip some platforming, and we're onto the first real boss of the game, which will be Geno Queen. She is like one of these big Contra-like bosses that's mostly hanging out in the background. You can see her hands and her head is in the foreground. You want to go for 5 hits or 4 hits on the hand, which will then open her mouth, and now Kirthar does very precise jumping and slashing to one-cycle the boss. Very nicely done. Now the thing with this is the Moon Spear normally hits only once. However, if you use it at a certain point during your jumps, you can hit her up to 3 times per jump, and that is basically what enables us to one-cycle her. Because otherwise, after that attack that you just saw, she would close her mouth again, which makes her invulnerable, and then Kirthar would have to hit the right hand once more to kill it, which will make her scream, opening her mouth, and then she could kill her. But that will lose about 8 seconds or so. Now here we just saw the level select screen. Once you're done with the first stage, you actually can go to any other stage in any order you want to, kind of Mega Man style. And we choose to go to Yvonne the Little City, which is basically an auto-scroll. Like, there are 2 of these bike segments in the game, and they're kind of auto-scrollers, but also kind of not, in the sense that they will only start advancing through the level if you kill all the enemies that stay on screen to fight you. You might see that with some of the motorcyclists that come here. Like, some of them will stay on screen and try to shoot you, and others will just straight up go into the distance and not bother you. And you can safely leave those alone because the game will still advance, because it basically waits for all enemies to leave the screen in order to get you to the next section, so to speak. Also, at this point, I usually like to take a shout out to the soundtrack of the game, because it is phenomenal. Last time we had the advantage, I want to say, of having Dominic Ninmark here with us, which is the composer of this game's soundtracks, and a couple others as well, because he happens to live close by to where ESA is held. So shout out to Dominic, he is an awesome dude. And yeah, I guess we're just gonna vibe a little bit to the music here, because it's so good.
Yeah, the soundtrack is so good in this game.
It actually got me into playing this game.
Yeah,
like, when I saw the first couple trailers of this, I was like, oh yeah, this looks pretty cool. I can probably pick that up when it goes on sale or something. And then I actually found a couple of excerpts from the OC and was like, oh, no, I have to get this day one. This is not up for discussion here. I have to get into this game and I have to start speedrunning it. Yeah, I also speedrun this game, or rather I speedran it. I'm not doing it actively at the moment anymore. But Kirthar here is like, I think you're number 2 on leaderboards right now.
Yeah,
only
two,
one
right
other person above you with like a couple seconds difference. So let's see if we can maybe duke it out today, right here on screen. Neat little trick that you saw there were like these electric barriers on the street, but if you just go to the far left or the far right, they don't extend enough that they will hit you there. So you can just safely bypass them. They don't even have to jump over them.
Yeah, on the leaderboards, not only for this game, but also Blazing Chrome, which is another Joey Master game that I play, also with music by Dominic. But in both games, Suribu is the world record holder, because I don't know if it's out of spite to me or something, because he just keeps snatching that away from me.
He just keeps grinding down those games like a madman. Shoutouts to him.
Yeah, shoutouts to him.
Yeah, this is like the boss of this motorcycle stage. You kind of have this green crosshair on the boss, and what you're trying to do is keep it on him at all times to just, you know, kill him very quickly. Because if the boss goes too far to left or to right out of your targeting reticle, you will start missing shots, and that will obviously lose your time. And now we're on to the second half of Your City. This is a, you know, normal side scroller again, and you can probably already tell what's gonna be, you know, the big hazard for this stage, which is all the gaps between all the vehicles that we are trying to make our way through. Now, luckily, if you fall into the gaps, it's not an instant kill. You just lose a little bit of health and get placed back on the last piece of solid ground that you have been on. So I think that's actually true for all of the pits and spikes and whatnot this game has. None of these instantly kill you, unlike, you know, stuff like Mega Man. You will just lose a little bit of health and get sent back a bit. Obviously, it still loses your time, you know, but it's not as bad. Now, these are some mini-bosses along the way. We'll see them a couple more times that they take a lot of hits to kill. What Kirthar will do is he will crouch down and hit them with this, you know, kick, I want to say. Then a Moonspear when they get up and a couple more attacks, and they should be good. Now, these flank enemies, these are the true menace in this stage. As you can see here, they are programmed in a way to intercept where you're going while you are in the air. And there are a lot of them in this particular section, and it's just an absolute menace to get through. So always a little bit of time loss there. Now these enemies are a little bit interesting. You can see some of them have actually a shield. Now you can't hit or even kill them, obviously, with your normal sword attacks. You have to use the Moonspear or get behind them to hit them from the back in order to get rid of them. Now, but they will always come down in the same fashion, so you go left first to get rid of them, then right with the Moonspear, and just kill the other ones with the running slash. Now we have 2 more of these guys. We kind of try and you know, get them in their crouching state at the same time, so we can both kill them on the left side or in the middle of the screen. Try to make them overlap, but that was pretty good. You know, he died on the right side of the screen. We want to go anyway, so not a lot of time lost, if any, there. Then we just go through these boxes, a couple barriers. We can just tank through them because there are so many health pickups in this particular section of the stage that we don't really care about it. I think there's one more, and then we are on to the proper boss of the stage, which is Photon Drifter. There he comes. I have no idea how he keeps up with this truck at the speed that he walks there, but hey, you do you, buddy. The way Kirthar will handle this boss is he'll run up to him, which makes Photon Drifter go to the left side of the screen. Then we'll chase him down and basically Moonspear him to death. Just like that. And a couple Moonspears. You can see his health on the upper right corner there. And he's done. And the reason we do this stage first after the Bio Research Lab is because now we get the Photon Dash. And the Photon Dash gives us the trifecta of speedrunning goodness. It is a dash which propels us forward, which makes us go faster. It deals damage while doing so, and we are invulnerable at the same time. Now, if that isn't like the true speedrunner blessing, I don't know what is. And yeah, the thing is pretty busted. As you will see very soon once you get into the next stage, which will be Azura's Fleet, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
yes,
there we go. And Azura's Fleet has probably my favorite track in the whole game, so I will just shut up for a minute and let you listen for a bit. That track is so good. all the platforms in this stage are on a global cycle, so as soon as we load in, they will start moving. So every mistake that Kirthar will do will probably throw him off just a little bit, because obviously you want to go through this in one go, so you know where all the cycles are going to be. And again, you don't die if you fall into any of the pits, but it will set you back while the cycles keep going. And here we have to fight the mini-boss, which actually got patched in the latest patch the game got, because previously you could just dash over this platform and just continue on with the stage. You didn't have to fight them. Now the developers obviously didn't like that too much, so they patched in that there's an invisible barrier that you can't, go over, so you have to stop on this platform and make that mini-boss spawn in. Much to our dismay, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, it dies pretty quickly to the dash anyway, so
yeah,
it's not a big
it's
deal.
fair enough. And here we are at the boss of the first half of it. This is this disembodied head. You can only hit its brain section on the front of its head there. And you go for a couple swipes while it's up there. And then it will do these lasers where you can just dash through them. As you saw, you're completely invulnerable while that is going on. And a couple more slashes, and this thing is a thing of the past. Now coming up is an elevator section. This is basically a glorified auto-scroller, so Zed, if you have anything for us, now would be a good time while we make our ascend.
Lovely. Everybody, I want to remind you, this is the penultimate day of ESA Summer 2024, and we have a bunch of polls and target open for the final day tomorrow, so you can donate towards the Grand Pooh World 3 Bowser fight on a DDR dance pad if you want to see that, and I know you want. Make it happen. Get these $5,000 in. And we also have 3 polls for the Super Metroid and A Link Past randomizer sprite choices. Currently the Trans Sprite, Samus and Pride Link are very much in the lead, but you can change that if you want to. And also you can save or kill the animals. And currently save sits with just $1, which was just a $1 anonymous donation. So keep the donations coming to make a change for the final day tomorrow.
So in between what Zed is that we kill another mini-boss, which, really isn't anything to talk about, because what you do is you go to the very far right of the elevator and then just dash in a certain rhythm, and if you do it correctly, he will actually die before he has any chance to do anything. Otherwise, if you probably miss one dash, he will go to the left side, be invulnerable, and again go back to the right, and you have to kill him there, losing you a bunch of time. But hey, Kirthar did it right, so he basically died without doing anything. That's great. Now we have picked up the Soul Eater chip, which will be the only other upgrade chip that we'll pick up in the whole game. And you might remember in the first stage we picked up the MP region chip, which makes it so that every 5 seconds we regenerate our MP by 1 point. Now with the Soul Eater, every time we kill an enemy, they also drop these blue dark souls that will follow us and that we can absorb, which will also regenerate our MP. So basically the routing is around our sub-weapon use. The photo on that, you see us using it. We will use it a lot during the run, so obviously we want to try and be able to use that as much as possible, which is why we chose those 2 chips to pick them up. I think there are like a total of 16 of these upgrade chips across the game, roundabout.
Yeah, that sounds right.
They all do different things, like increase your armor. I think they even increase your damage. One of them is the glass cannon chip, which despite its name does not increase your power, but it only makes it so that you die in 1 hit. So you basically have a 1-hit kill mode enabled, which I tried to route at one point, and I think it took me like 1.5 hours to get through the game, because those 2 bike stages are just an absolute nightmare with and on. Yeah. The rest of the game is kind of fine, but those 2 stages are just like, ugh. But yeah, we're just making our way through this, it's not a spaceship, it's more like an aircraft, to get to the next boss, which, spoilers, will not be a Sora. I wonder why that is. We'll see about that.
Guess we'll see. Yeah.
But yeah, we have these barriers with these eye laser things. The photon dash just makes them absolutely trivial. And yeah, we are coming up on Asura. This is Asura. Everybody say hi, Asura.
Hi, Asura.
Everybody say bye, Asura.
Bye, Asura.
Yeah, okay, that was the boss fight. No, not really. The true boss fight is against Stormdiver here. We will do a little bit of an AI manipulation. But Kirthar will run at her and do a running slash. And that should manipulate her eye in such a way that she will stay on the right side of the screen, just like that. She will now run up, and then we just photon dash against the wall, and there she goes. If that AI manipulation hadn't worked, the only difference in strategy would have been, instead of staying up on the right side, she would fly over to the left side, and then we would basically do the same thing there. Lose like 2 seconds or so. It's not a big time loss, but obviously we're speedrunners, we want to go fast, so we do it on the right side. And up next will be the Lost Ruins, which is, I think, one of our favorite levels in the speedrun because there are so many skips and tricks in that particular stage, like back to back. Like, it is very specifically routed, and it's just, if it goes well, it flows so well into each other. So we will see how this will go. So we just start with, descending this little shaft here, dashing through a couple of enemies, landing specifically on this one block, then jumping off of that guy, doing the wall jumps. We do 2 dashes here to land on this platform. From this platform, do another dash. Then we cancel this little cutscene here where you saw Kirthar go back to grab the scenes while this guy there transforms. Put and dash through the other guys and then through the spikes because, again, we have invulnerability frames. So we will get hit a little bit because we don't have enough mana to do just photon dashes. And then we will go to this second block, do 1 slash for timing issues, then do 2
What? Okay. I don't agree with
I
that.
disagree with that one. Okay, so we do have to do it the normal way. Normally we would be able... Normally we would be able to skip everything past this second crumbling block. But again, we would jump onto the crumbling block, do 1 slash for timing purposes, which would make one of the bees, fly under us so we can dive kick off of it. Then the second one would come in, we would dive kick off of that, and we would land on this platform that Kirthar used to get up the rest. And it just feels so good to get that, but obviously it's very hard to do because, you're kind of dependent on where the enemies are in relation to you. So it's very easy to mess it up, but it feels so good if we get it. And here we are at the next mini-boss. We destroy a part of the submarine there, then it will attach itself to the wall, wait for the brain to come out, photon dash against the wall, and that's the boss done.
Yeah. You gotta see a lot of those kind of kills, like just dashing against the wall. It's so good.
Yeah. This is the second part of the level. This is like a little labyrinth where you have to hit these switches to open the appropriately colored barriers. However, this is one of the most recent things I thought, but we can skip like basically all of it, or a good 3/4 of it, by using this particular enemy to dive kick up, so we can land at this little chute here, which would actually be on the end of the level. So we're now going a little bit backwards through an optional path that you could use to, go back into level if you've forgotten any pickups or something, if you want to use that. But we use it to just, go straight to the boss, which will be Dark Chaser. Now, as you can probably tell by Dark Chaser, she has this little thing floating behind her. This is like a barrier she has that we have to destroy first by just, a couple sword strikes. It basically just protects her health bar a little bit longer, so the fight lasts a little bit longer. And Kirthar will try and hit her 2 times with every jump there. Then a couple more times down here, and probably finish it off with a photon. No, not photon dash. Okay. Okay, there we go. That's the thing destroyed. Now we can actually damage her. She will now change her attack patterns a little bit. We'll try to get 1 hit her while she's still on the lower left corner, like that. And then she'll do teleports. We will hit her with 2 dashes and a strike. And then she comes out, and in the air, we will just dash until she's dead. Like, these boss fights go over so quickly just because the photon dash is absolutely broken. Like, in the first couple of writings of the game, we would actually do this stage as one of the first ones because the Dark Portal that we get as an ability here was very, very busted. Like, it dealt a ton of damage. However, they actually nerfed it a little bit, which is kind of weird because, yes, it was a little bit overpowered in the beginning, but the photon dash is so much better, and they never touched that for some reason. So it's kind of interesting. Another thing you might think is, I made the allusion to Mega Man a little bit earlier that, you can select these different stages and all of them have bosses and you get abilities off of them, blah, 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 blah. However, unlike Mega Man, none of the bosses are actually weak to a specific other weapon of another boss, which is why we just grab the photon dash at the beginning and just roll with it through the whole of the game, because, it doesn't matter anyway. Obviously, you have this little selection menu that you just saw, the ring menu, where Kirthar can select all the other sub-weapons that we have collected. We basically, or we rarely switch off the photon dash. However, there are a couple instances where you might want to use another sub-weapon, which we'll actually see after this stage. Now, these mini-bosses here, these cars, I want to call them, they are absolute menaces. We'll have to fight another one, and it's an absolute pain. However, here we go for a tricky wall jump right there, but we don't go onto this little elevation. We stay on the ground and then just, jump really around the corner there to grab the little piece of wall beneath the electricity to be able to make that wall jump. And here's the other one, just the little 2 pits there with the electricity, make this fight so much harder because you suffer a lot of health damage if you just touch these things. And we are already onto the boss of this half of the stage. Now, I think your MP is looking a little bit low there. So we have to, you know, accommodate for that a little bit. But basically what we're going to do is we want to run at this guy and then hit him with 1 or 2 combos, I think, and then just, again, use the photon dash until he is dead, just like that. Now, if Kirthar had had enough MP, he would have just, you know, used all the dashes there instead of having to do another running slash at the end, and he would already be dead. But they're absolute push over that guy.
Yeah.
Now the second half of the laser research here, this is like one that is very, very hard. There are a lot of big lasers coming up very soon that deal a lot of damage. So we have to be a little bit careful with our health in this part of the level. But yeah, there's just a lot of, you know, kick diving and stuff like that to basically skip platform cycles and climbs and whatnot. And yeah, these were the lasers I was talking about. They deal a lot of damage. Here, if you're very precise, you can make it through this whole elevator shaft without getting hit by the lasers, but probably lost a second or so somewhere we got hold of, so he wasn't able to make the cycle completely. Now, this boss can be a little bit of madness. We take intentional damage here from the first shot, so we kind of use the invulnerability flames to hit you know, the glowing blue orb at the chest of that thing in peace. Now, sadly, he missed the dark portal on the vulnerability part here, so this will probably be a 4th cycle now. Normally,
yeah.
oh no, it's still a 3rd
it.
cycle.
Okay,
that's good.
I'll take it.
Yeah. It will always take 3 cycles to kill that, so if you know, miss that dark portal there, you kind of mostly have to go for a 4th cycle. But hey, it still worked out pretty good. And now this is the really scary part, because there's a very big laser coming right there. And this will basically, I wanted to say, take like 1/3 of your health if it hits you. But obviously we're speedrunners, so we still want to go fast, but it deals a lot of damage. So, you know, you have to give and take here a little bit, because there's another second laser that we have to go through. This is, again, like a mixture of using photon dashes at the right time and your running slashes to get rid of these barriers that we have to destroy in order to continue through the stage. So it always depends on, you know, how much MP do you have to play around with. Like, did you get the dark portal on the previous boss, or did you have to save a little bit? Yada, yada, yada. And here we are on to the next boss, which will be Geocrusher. Now, Geocrusher, we once again will manipulate his AI. So what will happen is he will just appear on the right side of the screen there. We will jump behind him, and that...
Actually, I have a little bit low MP, so I'm gonna wait a little bit, because it actually charges while he's talking to me, so here we go.
Okay, just making sure we are full MP there.
Yep.
So what we'll do, we will jump behind him. He will then hit us, and since you kind of get elevated a little bit into the air while you're being hit, we use that to then just wall or dash against the wall. And what makes it so, because we are in the air, he will then do a rising kick, and we kill him in the air. Because the way why we do that is, if he would be on the ground when he loses the first half of his health bar, he would transition into a second phase, which would make him invulnerable for a couple seconds and then change his attack patterns. And obviously we don't want that. So, you know, it's kind of like a timing thing that we're going for at that point to just kill him very quickly. And now we get the Geocrash, which is basically one of the other best ability, I want to say, that we can get in the game. So from now on, we will use the Photon Dash and the Geocrash whenever we need them. And we are into the Fallen City, where we are chasing Flamestalker, so to speak. That's not him, that's just our friendly neighborhood stalker robot that will chase us through the rest of the stage. And here you can see the Geocrash in action. Now, the way the Geocrash works is, if you use it, Moonrider will use his fist to slam the ground, and these, I think, 5 projectiles come out of it. However, or 6 projectiles, actually. However, if you jump and then use the Geocrash in the air, it will actually power up the move. So the higher you are in the air when you use it, the more damage it will deal. So obviously, we want to be jumping up very high and then use it at the apex of our jumps. However, it kind of has a bit of a bug or a glitch with it, where if you are in the air, use Geocrash, and on your way down, you use 2 dive kicks, I think it is.
Yeah.
It will kind of cancel the Geocrash, or at least your descent, but you will stay in the air, just like that. And you will deal damage on every frame that you can, but you're also still in control of Moonrider, so you can change where on the screen you are, considering left and right, and you can still attack during that time. This is what we call a floating crash, and that is what we'll use, you know, against big boys like this one, in order to get rid of them pretty quickly. Because it also won't drain your MP anymore, right? Like, normally you can only use like 3 of them or so, I think, or 5 of them before your MP run out, but during that time, you only use the MP for using 1 of them. Now we're on the second half of the Fallen City. And yeah, but again, just photon dashing against these blockades, so we can make it through here pretty quickly. We're generating our MP by killing the snipers. And this is like a very difficult climb, I want to say, if you want to make it fast because of these falling rocks. And coming up is a bit of a blind run section where Kirthar will not enter the boss's arena, but instead, manipulate. I can't really manipulate the camera, but you're making it not go upwards. Now, just shut up for a moment.
Okay, I got it. I think. Wait, one more jump. Okay, there we go. There we go.
So yeah, what would normally happen on that screen that you saw during that whole time is that robot would come back and would have another boss fight against him. Yeah. However, if you just immediately jump against the wall, because if you kill that enemy, flames would rise on the ground, it would have this whole escape section during that tower. But if you just jump against the wall, you can grab one of the hand railings there and then do the whole climb blind. And that is why Kirthar needed the audio cues in order to know where he is in the climb, so you can get to the end of it. Because if you get to the end, the camera actually catches up to you, and you don't have to do that boss fight. And yeah, while I was explaining that, he killed the actual boss off the stage. I didn't see if it was a one cycle. I guess it wasn't because it was in the middle.
No, it wasn't. But it's really
very complicated.
Yeah,
but it was a boss.
It was a boss, I guess.
Who cares about Flamestalker anyway? Because we get the Flamerang now, which is a pretty pathetic weapon. I don't think anybody ever used it because it deals absolutely no damage to anything. So yeah,
go away.
Anyway, how about we proceed into the second to last stage, so to speak, or third to last, I'm going to say, the last one that you can actually freely select, which is the desalination facility where we will fight Hydromancer. And judging by the name of it, it is, of course, the obligatory water level to a game like this. But it has some neat skips in it as well.
Yep. Some nice dive kicks here and there.
Now, obviously, if you're on the water, it slows you down by a lot, so you don't want to spend too much time in there. But there's also, another MP pickup that we want to grab. Your jumps are also slowed down by a lot, as you can see. You don't necessarily gain more height; it's just all very slow. So we want to. Now, this is pretty neat. You use 2 photon dashes here, so you don't get locked into this arena where you otherwise would have to kill a couple of enemies, which saves a bunch of time by doing that. And here is the next mini boss. We'll use another float crash. Just like that, and hopefully that will immediately kill it. There we go.
Yeah, a little bit well, but that's good.
And with that, we're already on to the second part of the desalination facility, which has like one of my favorite skips in the game, actually. It's just so good if you pull it off because it skips a bunch of the whole level. Basically, the gimmick of this particular stage is you have to hit these switches to make the water fall or rise and then stay on these floats to, go up and down depending on where you need to go. However, in the next part, we're going to skip a lot of that by manipulating the water level in a way. Because what Kirthar do, he'll go to the left there to spawn an enemy in the top left, then hit the switch, jump kick off that enemy, which makes the water go down, and then we use a couple of wall jumps to go up this section. Now, normally, all this area that we're in right now would be filled with water, would have enemies in it, but since the water isn't there because we skipped all of that, they're not there, and we can just freely walk through that whole section, which is really cool because otherwise, you had to hit a couple more switches to make the water rise to the specific level that we needed, and we just skip all of that just because of the little enemy on the ceiling there. Now, this is the next mini boss. I like to call her the Mermaid. I don't think she has like any official name, but we just use a combination of geocrashes and sprint runs, and that should be the end of that. Yeah, just making our way through the last section of this level. There are a couple of fish that are in the way. Now, these fish are kind of like the floating enemies, even though they're city, in that they're trying to intercept you. However, we don't. Yeah, he was trying. He was trying, but they were just not giving him any chance to. And then a couple more dashes, and we are on the last elevator. It's just a little bit faster to actually climb up here instead of using the float to get up here, get our recharges, and we are onto Hydromancer. Now, Hydromancer has another quick kill. He will appear on the middle right there in just a second. And once the dialogue is done, Kirthar will jump onto the middle platform there and then do a running slash to hit him once, draining his speed a little bit. Then he will appear in the upper left corner. We will jump up to him, slash him, and before we lower completely back into the platform, we will just use our photon dashes to kill him. So this should all happen in one jump if all goes wrong, and it did. Now, coming up is, well, the first of the 2 last stages of the game already. Time just goes flying by when you're playing Moonrider. And during that motorcycle section, Zed, if you have anything for us, feel free to go ahead.
I do have something for you, and that is I want to let everybody know. Remember why we're here. We're not just seeing awesome, fast-paced, amazing speedruns, but also we are collecting funds. We're raising funds for charity, which is an amazing organization that we are raising funds towards this year once again for the Swedish Alzheimer Fonden. And remember, when you donate, that is by clicking the donation button, the donate button below the stream, or typing !donate in chat, you will be sent to a Tiltify page where you on top see 3 tabs: rewards, polls, and targets. You can get one of our amazing event shirts for a donation of $40. You will get a code to redeem in the Speedrun store. And also we have polls and a target for the final day tomorrow. Polls for the Super Metroid and Zelda 3 randomizer, and as well a target for the Grand Pooh World to have the Bowser fight on a DDR dance pad. And I think that is something that you definitely want to see. So keep the donations coming. This is currently the penultimate day. You don't have too much more time to get the final target met. So please choose one poll, choose one target, and choose a reward or multiple rewards if you want to. But please keep the donations coming because it's really such a great cause that we are happy to raise funds towards.
Absolutely. Not helping us with that, though, are these trucks, because they can be absolute pains in your behind. Because the problem is, when we are on the bike, we want to use our special attack, which is these snaking purple energy balls. However, the problem is, if you probably see them by it, you know, through the snaking, they have like a little dead zone in the middle of them at some points, and those actually do not have a hit zone. So what happens is, if you are perfectly perpendicular to the trucks, where these little soldiers are on the back, and you shoot your special, it will not hit the soldier. It will hit the truck, but it doesn't do any damage because you have to hit the soldiers for that. So what you actually want to do is you want to be a little bit off-center and then use the special attacks to actually be able to hit the soldiers, which then deals damage to the truck. And it's so counterintuitive to use at that point that I really, really do not like it.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, that was another mini-boss, like the mech that you saw coming in there. You can't really hit him with your normal shots because he will just spin around in place and deflect all of them. This is why we kind of want to save up our MP. And this is, you know, another big reason why we want the MP regen chip during these sections, because as you can see, it works even here. So we are always passively regenerating our MP to, you know, be able to keep our specials going. Then also grabbing these blue capsules to, again, you know, get a recharge on that. And this is Sunseeker. He's actually the final boss of the game. Spoilers, so we won't actually be able to kill him here. Now you do want to hit him with 4 of your specials, then a couple normal shots, and then another special once it has filled up to, I think it's 4 or 5 points again. And that should get rid of him soonish enough. But it's like very hard to hit him, as you can see, with all these curves that are going on. And yeah, it's very hard to aim that thing if you are in a curve going like that. But hey, we made it, and with that, we are on to the second half of the stage, which is the space elevator. I mean, where else would we go in a game like this but into space? And I think we're both really, really like this particular song because it has this, I want to say, rising quality to it, where it just, you know, it layers on more and more instruments and beats on top of it, and it's just a bop. So I'm just going to let you enjoy that.
Yeah, I thought I heard a donation come in, so I guess if we have any messages, then now is a good time.
We do. We have $2 from Biggie Small saying this game's cool, and I agree. This game really does look cool. And there was a $40 donation from Q Natrix without a message, but both of these donations went towards the Grand Poo World Bowser DDR fight target. Please keep the donations coming. Keep the momentum building up for this target because we need to raise $5,000 to reach the target and see the Bowser fight on a Dance Revolution pad.
But yeah, for this elevator section, all these enemy spawns are set in stone, so you always know which enemies are coming up, and there's, preparing accordingly by being at, one side and kind of want to fight to the other and just kill all the enemies in between. And now we're setting up for the next boss fight, which will be like these 4 rotating faces, and you have to kill all of them in order to progress. Now, the way we do that, we start off with floating crash, as you can see, to damage them as much as possible while going through that. And obviously, it's very hard to damage the one that is on top, because you naturally cannot reach it until you, unless you, dive kick off of one of the others, unless you use something like the Geo Crash there. And yeah,
that was
like the perfect setup. Blink and you miss it. And we are already on to the last stage of the game. And obviously, where else would it be but in space? Because obviously, this fascist nation that we're fighting against has a space station for some reason. I guess fascism does make you money? I'm not sure about the messaging here, really.
Yeah, sure.
But the theme song is another bob, and I hate that I have to talk over it. But it's probably my second favorite one after Asura's Fleet. But once again, this is a stage that is completely on global cycles, so Kirthar knows where all these laser cycles will be in the elevator cycles or the platform cycles that we'll see just in a moment. So every little mistake that he makes going through this will completely, not necessarily throw him off, but change the cycles. So you might not exactly know how you'll have to progress there, but this looks very clean, and I just had to jinx it. But this horizontal laser at the end there at the stop is like the one that is basically a run killer, but it's so easy to hit it and just fall back down and try to get past it, and it just will not happen. But hey, we despawned the sniper here, very nice. Probably not going for a refill, okay. Are you going for the thing? Yeah, he is going for the skip, I want to say. Bugging out the camera here. We actually are in a boss fight right now, which is a refight. But we just, are now behind him, which he doesn't particularly like. So it's this guy again. And as you can see, he has his health bar.
That was a hard fight.
No. Good fight. Good fight. Yeah, and we are immediately into the final boss fight of the game here, which will be against Sunseeker. Sunseeker has like 2 or 4 phases in total, depending on how you want to look at it. That is the guy. You can see he's kind of, the counterpart to Moonrider, Sunseeker. And we will just hit him a bunch at the beginning to get rid of half of his health by here with 1 Geo Crash. And then he will do a couple dive kicks, but not too serious right now. It is when he goes into his true second phase, where he gains the wings, where we go to the left corner, wait for him to come, use a Geo Crash to deal a bunch of damage to him, do the same thing again. He will now go down, and we will just kill him, and time is coming up, and time.
Yeah, that's a good run.
Yeah. That was pretty flawless. I mean, a couple of mistakes, small mistakes here and there, but it's a marathon run. But if you were to grind this out like as a true world record attempt, I want to say you would just, basically at this point reset over every single little thing. And your PB is what again?
It's like, what is it, 36:05, I think?
05, so about a minute faster than what we saw here today, which, is pretty phenomenal in a marathon setting, for sure. I think I kind of stopped at like, I don't know, like a high 30s, I want to say, but I'm not exactly sure. But it's been a while since I played the game. But yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal game. You can grab it on, I think, every platform out there at the moment, be it PC, PlayStation, Switch, I think even Xbox at this point. It released, again, like 1.5 years ago at this point. It's absolutely worth picking up. Show some support to the developers. They are phenomenal. They also did Blazing Chrome. And, yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that was a really good run. So, yeah, shout outs to the Joey Master speedrunning community. Like, we have a Discord channel or a server for all the
Joey Masher games. So it is this one, it's Blazing Chrome, Odalis, and Oniken. So if you're up for like trying to speedrun any of those games, then come by and yeah, say hi and
Yeah, have a good time.
yeah.
One thing I quickly want to address, because I just saw it in chat, is somebody's asking if the game is in Chinese. Yes, but you have the selection between different languages. The only reason we are playing in simplified Chinese is it makes all the text boxes go by a little bit faster, saving, I don't know, 10 seconds or so over the course of the whole game, maybe 20. Yeah, that's the only thing why we're playing in simplified Chinese. You can play it in English, you can play it in a bunch of other languages. And yeah, I guess that's it from us.
Yeah.
All right. Have fun with the rest of the marathon. Good luck to all the runners. Keep raising money for Alzheimer Fonden. We are a little bit more than 40,000. I do want to see at least 50K at the end of this event. I know we can do it. I'd rather see 60 or even more. You know, our professor friend there was hoping for another 100K for research. Let's see if we can make that happen. I know we have the power to do it. There are enough of you out there to be able to raise that. I want to see that. Do it.
Yeah, keep donating.
Get shirts.
Absolutely. But yeah, thanks for having us.